2. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 312. Listen, if you hear the dog eating in the background, he is currently just now finishing. Also, I think the desk just shrank on me. Hold on. No, this is where it's supposed to be. Okay. Episode, 312 would I say? Is that what we landed on? All right, cool. Great. Welcome back into the show. Don't come over here sniffing me with your wet mouth, dude. Don't look at me like that. I got back from a late lunch with a friend. Prior to that, I saw the movie Saturday night. I've been planning to see this movie for weeks. Let me tell you, I've been like just gung-ho on seeing this movie. I love Saturday Night Live. It's probably my second favorite franchise behind The Simpsons. For all its ups and downs, for all its weaknesses and strengths, I think Saturday Night Live is fantastic. And yes, I know both the franchises I love are 36 or 37 years old and 50 years old. I understand that. I just love them so much. They're great. I saw Saturday night at 12:15. Rode my bike up to my local AMC theater. Also, I wasn't sure if it was going to be at AMC theater. Thank goodness it was. I rode up there, had my lunch. Yes, I did have 2 lunches today. I eat a lot. I work out a lot. I eat a lot. I had my lunch, bought some bacon and egg gummies at Trader Joe's. They're shaped like bacon and eggs, but they just taste like gummies, obviously. They're not going to be bacon and egg flavored gummies. That's disgusting. And you know what? The movie's about the 90 minutes prior to the first episode of Saturday Night Live. This is what was very different about this movie. I talked about this in Late Night Lately. They obviously tried to hype up the tension of what this movie was supposed to be. What the 90 minutes were supposed to be. And for the most part, it worked. I'm not here reviewing the movie. I'm just talking about what I experienced in the movie. What I noticed for a lot of these people is they either hired somebody that looked like almost to the T in the case of Corey Michael Smith, like their character who's playing Chevy Chase. The person sounded like them. They were doing a great impression, or the writing was just like very, very much of that person. I don't think not one person to what I see did a poor job at impersonating who their person was supposed to be. Corey Michael Smith did a fantastic job. Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd was crazy. He got the cadence down. He looked kind of like him. The mustache was like on point, but man, his cadence and his voice were fantastic. Lamorne Morris, I feel so bad for because they barely gave him anything to do. The entire time Kim Matchlow was on screen, I was just like, she's gorgeous. Who is this woman? That's very sad. I was like, who is this woman? Every time she was on, I'm like, all right, time to pay attention. No, it's very funny. I enjoyed it. The one issue I will say, not issue, but the one thing that was just out of place was Nicholas Braun playing Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson. And also, I saw an article. I did not read this article, but I did see an article talking about how they mistreated Jim Henson. They're like, why were they so mean to Jim Henson? If anything, they were mean to Chevy Chase. It was like the lines of the movie. Why was the movie so mean? No, they like Jason Reitman wrote this movie with Gil Keenan. Jason Reitman is the son of Ivan Reitman, but he wrote this movie, and my God, the anti-Chevy Chase jokes were so on point, especially when J.K. Simmons' Milton Berle just takes him down. It was just fantastic to watch that happen. They got a great Don Pardo impersonator who was played by Brian Welch. And John Batiste did the music for this movie. And let me tell you, it was fantastic. The music was fantastic. I will say this. This is a very stupid thing about it. But every time I watch SNL, when I get to the end credits, I tear up a little bit because they did this show. Good or bad, they did this show, they put it on, and it worked. They got to the end of the movie, and John Batiste orchestrated a song that was in the vein of SNL. And man, it worked on me. I was like, wow, that's crazy. The cast was good. I wish this is a weakness of what Saturday Night Live was in the 70s. I wish it was more of a diverse movie, but for the most part, they captured the tension, the anxiety that comes with producing an episode of Saturday Night Live, and this was the first episode. And yeah, I liked it a lot. It was shot in Atlanta? Oh my goodness. I am so pissed. What? Ugh. They should have. It was shot in Fayetteville. In Atlanta and Fayetteville. Why didn't they call me? I would have done anything. I'd have been a stand-in for Lamorne Morris. But yeah, I enjoyed that movie. Next week, I'm trying to see a couple of movies. I'm not going to mention them, but I'm just trying. One of them is Piece by Piece, the Pharrell Williams movie. Anyway, let's get into the first story because we got a lot to talk about. This comes from Alex Weppert over at The Hollywood Reporter. Amazon and Apple strike deal to bring Apple TV Plus to Prime Video. This is huge news, mostly because Apple is stepping outside of its ecosystem in order to provide its service via another service. I can get on multiple platforms. I can get Apple Music on my phone right now and pay the same $10 a month. And my phone's a Galaxy, a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I can get Apple Music on this, listen to it on my Mac, listen to it on my iPad, listen to it on my LG TV, listen to it on my Chromecast with Google TV. I can listen to Apple Music wherever. I can go buy, I have Beats headphones, Beats earbuds, Power Beats Pros, whatever the hell those things are called. I can use it on my Android phone. I can use it on my Switch. I can use it on my iPad. I can use it on my Steam Deck. This is a huge step for Apple TV Plus because you can only access it on Apple devices. You can only access it on some TV sets, so LG and Sony's and stuff like that, and Samsung's. You cannot access it on Android phones without going to like a Chrome or a Firefox or an Edge and logging in that way and watching it like that. But who would do that? I've done it before. Who would do that? At some point next month when this launches, just like Max, just like Paramount Plus, just like AMC Plus, Stars, Acorn, Shudder, whatever, you can go, or Masterpiece, you're going to be able to go to Amazon Prime, to Prime Video, excuse me. You're going to be able to go to Prime Video, and you're going to be able to subscribe to Apple TV Plus. Amazon's obviously going to get a fraction of that, in the same way that Google gets a fraction of Apple Music subscribers from the Google Play Store. It's going to cost the same $10 per month, and you're going to be able to be on Prime and go from The Boys to I just finished Bad Monkey. As much as I know this kind of pains Apple to do this, This is a fantastic idea they should have gone with a year ago, because I can go on Prime Video right now on my iPad and buy a movie, and Apple will get a little bit of that. Amazon will get the majority of it. And it also saves them from building an Android app, which they should have done when they released the Android TV app. It's ridiculous that it took this long. This is only positive for Apple because they realized, hey, it costs a shit ton of money to make TV shows and to make movies. Napoleon did not do well. Wolves probably did not do well. But people are tuning in and watching. They're obviously going to watch these things because, hey, I just bought some AirPods. I get Apple TV Plus free for 3 months. Let me check out The Frontier. Is that one of the shows? The Foundation. Let me check out Foundation. Let me check out the Charlie Brown episodes. Let me check out the new Fraggle Rock. But just because you set aside $1 billion doesn't mean that it's going to come back net positive. And they knew that. But now that you're able to reach truly hundreds of millions of more people, it's only going to be positive for you. Because now people are going to go to Prime Video and see, oh, hey, my Max is here. My Paramount Plus is here. Why don't I just migrate my Apple TV Plus over here? Because not everybody has an Apple TV, because that's where Apple TV Plus is better, And also, with Apple TV Plus, not only am I going to be... Well, actually, hold on. I was going to say something that might be wrong. If it's just Apple TV Plus, it'll be just like Max on or Paramount Plus on Amazon Video. You're not going to be able to access your library. But if you have a library on Apple TV Plus, some of those movies might be available on Prime Video too if you connect those services because of Movies Anywhere. It was announced at Bloomberg Screen Time Conference on Wednesday from Prime Video Chief Mike Hopkins. It is a good idea. I have not talked about this story at all, but it is a good idea. This is only positive for these two companies. Prime Video is positioning itself as the one place to watch everything. But in the same vein, you can subscribe to Apple TV Plus and also Paramount Plus on Apple TV Plus and Acorn and all that stuff. So, I don't expect this to have explosive numbers, but I do expect it to be nothing but positive. Now, speaking of streaming platforms, this comes from Lucas Manfredi over at The Wrap. Brian Roberts says Peacock suffered most losses we've had in 2023. Streaming is hard, and these platforms, these companies are finally realizing that they can't just throw money at the wall all the time. Netflix did it for so long, and they made it seem easy. So these companies, NBC Universal, Apple, Warner Brothers, they all come in and go, we can do the same thing. We can spend the same amount. The pandemic hits, they have to reel in all of their money, and they have to look at their finances and go, well, shit, we spent too much. This is not good. And now that has giant negative consequences for people like me in the industry. And Peacock is probably at the rock bottom of it all. Brian Roberts says 2023 will be, quote, the most losses we've had for Peacock as the streamer continues to work towards profitability, which they expect post the NBA deal taking effect in 2025-2026 season. They expect that to happen, the profitability to happen after that. He says in the short run, it might hurt it. Might. But in the long run, we're super excited and think that's factored into what we need to spend and what we'll need to monetize. It is hard to run these platforms. And these companies did not realize that. He wants these the football and the Olympics and the basketball to last a very, very long time. Decades. But as I'll note in this next story from Hollywood Reporter, written by Rick Porter, Disney is shrinking its TV kingdom. All of this stuff is hard to maintain. Disney shut down its ABC signature TV studio. And that's a big move. They moved everything that they do TV-wise under excuse me. They moved everything under Disney TV Studios. Disney Television Studios and 20th Television. Paramount did the same thing in August, Paramount Global, when they closed Paramount Television Studios and folded its existing shows and developments into CBS Studios. The current shows that are being made under ABC Signature, like Jimmy Kimmel Live and Grey's Anatomy, they're all moving under 20th. That means layoffs are happening. They've already happened, rather. Larger Disney empire has other studio assets as well. FX Productions supplies FX with programming for Linear and Hulu. Onyx Collective has several shows for Hulu and Disney+. Those two units are all in-house shows. So what this is the easiest way to explain this is Fox Broadcasting canceled every show that it did not own. So that it's a money thing. You don't want to have co-productions with studios because you're not going to get the entire money. You only get some of the money. That's the name of the episode, Entire Money. Maybe it's not. Maybe it'll change. Based on volume alone, it's no surprise that 20th TV would be the last title card standing. Disney, like Paramount, 2 months ago, and other legacy media companies in the current business climate, is seeking to streamline operations with an eye toward consistent profits and streaming. Combining the Hulu and ABC development teams under Simran Sethi, yes, in a decision announced in conjunction with the closing of ABC Signature, is another step toward the corporate goal that Disney set out for itself. I added that last part. So they're making it sound like it's not a big deal, but it still kind of is. We're post-strike, post-pandemic. We're trying to find a way to make money, serve people ads, because fast, free ad-supported streaming television is very popular. Pluto TV, Tubi TV, Amazon Prime Freevee, or Prime Video Freevee. I'm going to get another email. I do want to say they did not send me an email personally directly. They sent an overarching, just call it Prime Video. I know I've mentioned it before. But streaming is such a difficult thing to monetize at this point. And I would venture to say in the future we will see did I sound like I was slurring my words? I will venture to say in the future we will see, we're already seeing a large emphasis, a large focus on streaming. But in order for linear to survive, there's going to have to be some type of symbiosis. And I think Paramount is doing a good job at that partially by airing shows like Yellowstone, by airing shows like Yellowstone, not only on Paramount Network, which is the cable platform, but also the broadcaster CBS. Yes, it's edited, but whatever. By airing the Yellowstone spinoffs on Paramount Plus. By selling the rights to Big Bang Theory that's just how that happens, to every other network. There's going to have to be symbiosis to get people in, to get the people who go, I'm not going to subscribe to Paramount Plus. Oh, they have what's Tulsa King? Why is it on CBS? Ooh, let me watch it. Ooh, I like Tulsa King. Let me watch the rest on Paramount Plus. Let's move along. This next one comes from Wall Street Journal, written by Becky Urak. Oh, I read this while I was on the treadmill this morning. I do a lot on the treadmill. Peloton's playing. Same thing. It's the same thing that happens while I'm cycling. Peloton's playing, and I'm either watching, Survivor or Big Brother or an action movie, or a reality show. Truly, just not any reality show, but like at one point it was The Devil's Plan, and that show is so particular. Ugh, God. It's just so difficult to pay attention to that show while I'm running. Meanwhile, with Culinary Culture Wars, I think that's the Korean cooking show on Netflix. I'm watching that show. I'm like, it's a damn fine show. Anyway, bankruptcy took down the Redbox machine. If only someone could take them away. Those Redbox machines are still at CVS's. I recently went to go get, a couple weeks ago, my flu shot and my COVID booster. And lo and behold, outside of the Redbox, outside of the CVS in Virginia Highlands is a Redbox machine. The window is closed down, that little flap. I don't know if it's still operational. I don't think so, because this is well after the bankruptcy of Chicken Soup for the Soul, that company that owned Redbox. It costs apparently roughly $500 to haul those machines away. Not only to load those up, but because some of them are bolted into concrete, you also have to get somebody who can remove the concrete. You have to get an electrician because they're hardwired into the stores. And then if you're a person, they weigh as much as 890 pounds. If you're a person who is paid to take that away, one of the 24,000 vending machines sitting in front of a CVS or Walgreens, Walmart, Dollar General, Albertsons, Kroger, what have you, you've also got roughly 500 discs. Walgreens told a court that it spent $184,000 a month at roughly 3,800 stores to power nearly 5,400 machines belonging to the failed business. Some stores are worried about people breaking in and stealing the discs. I will say that if you're stealing DVDs and Blu-rays, that's a bad market, my man. Coming from a guy who owns a giant shelf of DVDs and Blu-rays that are worth jack nothing. There's at least 500 DVD discs or Blu-rays inside these machines. Some of them have games. Oh man, maybe I should go to this, go back to Virginia Highlands and see if I can. Hey guys, I'll haul it away inside my Kia Niro. That thing held a bike. It held. I have two of those bookshelves. It held a treadmill. It held this desk. And that's roughly it. It has not held anything else. But you know what? Maybe it can hold an 890-pound machine. No, it can't. It can't. The movies that... What do these people do? These movies, people are worried about the landfill. You're like recycling it. You get roughly... If you're paid to haul away the machine and you recycle all the metal that is recyclable in the machine, you get paid roughly $50 to $70. So on top of the couple $100 for hauling this machine, you also get $50, $70 for recycling it properly. And then you have 500 DVDs. I just thought that was an interesting story and I really loved it. And this is just a poor thing to hear about Redbox and the people that have to deal with the aftermath of what Redbox is. And finally, we're going to talk about Broadway and why it dims the lights for people that died. This comes from the New York Times, written by Michael Paulson. Broadway theater owners facing backlash to dim all lights for Gavin Creel. Recently, we've seen people like Dame Maggie Smith. We've seen people like Stephen Sondheim, James Earl Jones, Cheetah Rivera. They all died. They were all actors on the stage. Or people who were involved in the stage. Stephen Sondheim was not an actor, at least I don't think. But they were all involved in Broadway. When they died, lights were dimmed. When Gavin Creel died, who was an actor on Broadway, he had a Tony Award-winning performance for Hello, Dolly in 2017. Only 1/3 of 41 theaters decided to dim their lights, wherein I don't think any of them were going to dim their lights before. In an email on Wednesday, the theater owners described their decision via the Broadway League, the trade organization that represents them and speaks on their behalf. The lights dimming ritual, which goes back decades, has been an increasingly fraught one for the 9 entities that own and operate Broadway theaters. That small group decides not only which Broadway alumni merit such public recognition when they die, but also how many buildings should go dark based on how those landlords evaluate the theater makers' contributions, which is basically saying if the more important you are, the darker, the more lights will go off, and the less important you are, it's not going to happen. This is from the New York Times, written by Michael Pollock, A Brief History of Dimming the Lights on Broadway. Joan Rivers was a big person when she died, and they were not going to dim the lights for her in 2014 when she passed away. This tradition began in the 1950s. Basically, house lights in all Broadway theaters were dimmed in honor of Gertrude Lawrence, who died of viral hepatitis at age 52 in September 1952 while she was starring in the Broadway musical The King and I. And then it happened again with Oscar Hammerstein II in 1960. They did it again with Alfred Lunt in 1977. The Broadway League, which is the trade organization of the people that own the theaters, producers, decide who should get the honor. The marquee usually dim for 1 full minute at curtain time on a show night. It's just to honor people who have passed away. And to say that someone is more important than another person is truly just a despicable thing to do. And it kind of reminds me of when you're at the Oscars or we're at the Emmys, and if 70 people died in a year that were in the entertainment industry and they only honor 50 of them, when you hear the uproar of what happened to the other 20, this person died. Yes. And sometimes they do it to big actors. They do it to people who were writers or producers or lighting people. And it's if you're going to do it for one person, do it for everybody, So just because James Earl Jones passed away doesn't mean that Gavin Creel doesn't deserve the same honors as him, because they both served, more or less in the same theater military. Oh God! Can you imagine the Pledge of Allegiance sang by a theater military major? Oh, say. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna do a bit where they're gonna sing the Pledge of Oh say can you see just about the light, America the Beautiful, wherever that's called. There have been a number of reforms suggested, from allowing a committee of independent experts to determine when the light should be dimmed and to what degree, to doing a regular light dimming ceremony to honor all Broadway contributors as they die, to scrapping the practice. I think it is good to honor these people. I would just treat them all the same. It doesn't make sense to think somebody deserves it better than somebody else. And yeah, I mean, if to some degree, and I know this is kind of the antithesis of what I was saying, of what I was saying, it would, to do it for every single person, the stagehand or whatever. But if it's a famous actor or producer or director or songwriter, yeah, you might as well. It's these people need to be honored in some way, and they've had giant contributions. The first comment, how small, how grasping, how elitist. I don't want to read the rest of that because I know it's going to put me in a bad mood. Oh God, New York Times comment section. If you really want to feel bad about your life, if you want to feel good about your life, about every decision you've ever made, read the comments to The Onion, on Instagram. Just go on The Onion on Instagram and read those. And you'll be like, oh, I'm a sane person. If you ever thought you were crazy, you could have schizophrenia, bipolar schizophrenia. You could be putting ham on your feet and walking like it's sandals. I don't know what that sentence was. You will seem like the most sane person if you read the Onion comment, like the comments on Onion on Instagram. It is, oh my God, the comments on Onion posts. Oh my God. Oh, it's gross. Okay, listen. If you like what you heard here, I had to unlock the iPad with my face. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. Either next week or the week after, I will have an interview to post. I have not decided what day because the thing that the person I'm promoting for, I interviewed them for it. It comes out on October 22nd. So either I do it the day after it comes out or I do it the week before. I have not decided. If you want to see a video version of the show, go to youtube.com/peoplescomedy. If you want to see a video version of the interviews, go to youtube.com/peoplescomedy, where you can also see a video version of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast. There you go. If you want to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, that'll be at @CPlusComedy. Follow me on those platforms, @ChadBlackWhite. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. Go watch a horror movie. I'm not vamping. You're vamping. Shut up. Okay. I'll see you later. That's the end of this episode. Bye.